Dubai is a city of impossible luxury, a glittering oasis where money isn't just powerful, it's everything. From 7-star hotels and private helicopters to beaches packed with supercars. This is a playground built for the world's elite to indulge in every fantasy. And at the center of that fantasy are young women, often between 18 and 25, who are invited for a weekend away in exchange for luxury goods to the sum of 5 figures. While it can appear as a symbiotic relationship on the surface, behind this carefully crafted image of glamour lies a much darker reality, one of whispered secrets, dangerous offers, and women who vanish without a trace. This is the story of models who go missing in Dubai. Have you ever come across profiles of young women posing on private jets or with exotic cars in the desert and wondered how they're affording that? And why there's an inquiries email tucked away in their link tree? Why does their bio link to a backup account? Chances are, that woman is doubling as a Dubai girl. If you're unfamiliar with the term, a Dubai girl is a young woman who makes herself available for a weekend away in Dubai by advertising herself on social media. Often these women are hiding under the guise of being an influencer or a model. And it's not that they aren't, it's that they're leaning heavily into alternative sources of income to keep up appearances. Let me explain. People expect influencers and models to be constantly traveling, photographed in beautiful locations, and flaunting their expensive luxury goods. It's an exorbitant lifestyle that's hard to afford unless you come from money or you've climbed the influencer ranks and reached the top 10%. So how do you claim these titles if you can't present the lifestyle that's supposed to come with them? This is why weekends away to Dubai, often to meet a man who DM'd you on Instagram, have become so common. Doubling as a Dubai girl seems to offer a fast track to the lifestyle and the image so many influencers are chasing.
We either are in a position where we need to do it so we don't speak about it, or we've done it and we're too ashamed.
This is how it works. These women receive expensive presents for hanging out with wealthy men known as sponsors, typically in the 5-figure range, while flooding their social media with the stereotypical it girl posts, lavish hotels, luxury cars, and high-end dining. In other words, they're not just being paid for their time, they're being handed everything they need to succeed in the more legitimate side of their business. If this is starting to sound familiar, it's probably because these influencers and models working as Dubai girls are strikingly similar to celebrity yacht girls. The biggest difference being that yacht girls are typically paid more, with the price tied to their star power, while Dubai girls are paid less with their value based on how much their sponsor can push their boundaries. And here's where it gets darker. The more degrading or humiliating the acts, the more extravagant the gifts become. But we'll get more into that later. Let's focus on why this is going down in Dubai. For almost a decade, Dubai's tourism board has worked directly with influencers to advertise the city to a global audience. A prime example of this was the 2017 #MyDubai campaign, which invited American and European influencers to showcase Dubai's luxury lifestyle and attractions to their followers. Almost overnight, the public perception of Dubai began to shift. The Emirati government has continued using social media to shape its image, rolling out the red carpet for content creators with free luxury trips for vloggers and streamers. This influx of influencers has made international prostitution flourish behind the scenes, because now, when a 21-year-old influencer from Los Angeles flies to Dubai alone for the weekend, it seems like business as usual. They're probably just there to make some TikToks by the pool, nothing sketchy about it. But here's the catch. That 21-year-old influencer will make TikToks by the pool. And while that content may not be the reason they're traveling to Dubai, it still helps maintain their influencer or model image on social media, and indirectly boosts the city's global appeal. Whether the government admits it or not, Dubai has formed a symbiotic relationship with international prostitution. The influencers draw attention, the city gets free advertising, and the darker side of these trips stays just out of frame. This relationship between tourism and influencers becomes even more on the nose when you factor in that Dubai built a 150-meter tall statue of a photo frame that was designed to be the new face of Dubai. But how much money are these women women making, and how easy is it to find a sponsor? According to a BBC article, after Tyne Lexi appeared on season 2 of Love Island at age 19, an agency emailed her offering £50,000 or $63,000 to spend 5 nights in Dubai with a sponsor. Part of the deal involved her signing a non-disclosure agreement stating that the details of what she would be required to do would remain confidential. Rosie Williams, also named in the same BBC article, was allegedly offered £100,000 or $126,000 per year, plus clothes and bags, to move to Dubai and become a companion to a man living there. Another woman who chose to remain anonymous claims they went through with it only for a couple of handbags because, quote, "I would also struggle to keep my followers engaged online, so I guess that's why I accepted the offer." But what if you're a struggling influencer or model that wants to signal that they're available for a weekend away? The strategy is to post attractive photos of yourself to social media. If you have pictures of yourself enjoying private jets or beaches in Dubai, that's a plus, as it signals to sponsors that you've likely done this before. If you don't have photos like these, it's fine, but you will have to work a little bit harder to catch the attention of sponsors. One way influencers fast track their growth is by purchasing Instagram accounts that already have a large following. It's no secret that the more followers you have, the more your account gets pushed to other people. This is why so many influencers and models have backup accounts linked in their bio. Here's how it works. Someone grows an account by posting memes or engagement bait content, and once it's big enough, they sell it to the highest bidder. The buyer changes the name, wipes the old content, and starts using it as their own. But there's a catch, and it's one of the industry's dirtiest tricks. The original account seller often keeps access to the email tied to the account, and after a while, they'll use it to reset the password and steal the account back. That's why the real game for buyers is to use the exposure from their bore-out audience to quickly grow their legitimate, fully owned backup account before the original owner pulls the rug out from under them. Having a larger account with more followers means that more people will find your photos, and this will increase your chances of a sponsor coming across your profile. The other way to attract the attention from a sponsor is to reach out to them first, because luckily, they advertise themselves on social media too. Helicopters, supercars, hotels, the men advertise sponsored trips to Dubai the same way, except they will never show their face or use their real name. If you come across one of these accounts, like several of their photos, while having similar content on your profile, chances are they'll hit you up with an inquiry. The inquiry almost always starts with a compliment, followed by asking if you accept presents or gifts. This is an Instagram-safe way of asking if they will fly to Dubai to sleep with them in exchange for items. If the woman responds with yes, the conversation typically moves to WhatsApp, where they get referred to a handler that will help finalize the deal. We'll go deeper into this later, but on a website used by sponsors to brag about what women they have given gifts to in exchange for weekend trips to Dubai, we can see this 20-year-old model reach out to one of these men first, and just 4 messages later, agree to fly first class to Dubai to sleep with him in exchange for a $30,000 gift. You've likely noticed by now that it's always a gift or a present with a monetary value attached to it. The reason for this being that the Dubai girls don't have to explain why they're coming back from a 3-night stay in Dubai with $30,000 in cash. Now they can tell the immigration officer that their date bought it for them, or it was a prop for social media that the photographer let them keep after they were done. But this actually plays a part in the darker side of the business, because these aspiring influencers and models typically don't have much money to begin with. They're often fresh out of high school with very little life experience, and giving them physical goods instead of cash can be a form of control. Something concerning is the power dynamic between sponsors and Dubai girls. The sponsor has everything they need to be successful in their modeling and influencing careers, but that access is used as leverage to have the women carry out some pretty illegal and disturbing acts. For example, a now defunct website called tagthesponsor.com, which rose to popularity in 2017, the same year Dubai's travel board began using influencers to garner international attention, was created for sponsors to brag about who they've slept with, and how much they paid them, and what they were able to do with them. Not every post on this website connects with Dubai, but many do, and almost all that do include photos, account names, and screenshots of the negotiation. This website reveals the dark intentions these men have for the women, as a glaring amount of these negotiations involve everything from performing acts on animals to minors. And just from the tone of their writings, one has to wonder if the real appeal for the sponsors is the physical connection, or to brag about how much hell they put the poor women through. With information removed to protect the identity of the women, we can see in this screenshot that a sponsor allegedly successfully solicited a Dubai girl and her friend to fly to Dubai for 5 days to perform acts on a camel before the sponsor defecates on both of them. Their price was 70,000 euros worth of gifts. In another post, we can see a different sponsor replying to an influencer who messaged first, agreeing to a weekend trip full of drugs and for $30,000 in gifts. There are a shocking amount of aspiring influencers and models on this website allegedly agreeing to perform certain sexual acts for as little as $5,000 in gifts. The most concerning part about this is how many of them agree to requests including performing services with the sponsor's nephews. While one woman was even made to get the sponsor's name tattooed on her body if she wanted the gifts to keep coming. An interesting trend among these conversations with various influencers and models is that the only time they display any friction with the sponsors is when the sponsor refers to them as an escort. Whether or not all of these posts are authentic is kind of irrelevant, because they're still agreeing to carry out these actions, and many have photographic proof of the alleged individual holding signs with the sponsor's username and date on them, with others including photos of the aftermath proving that some of these are in fact very real. But even after a successful rendezvous with a sponsor, Dubai girls still face a challenge. Without access to cash, sometimes Dubai girls get stuck in the city. They agreed to come to Dubai for a couple of days of work, only to miss the return flight home. They might have a couple of designer bags totaling $30,000, but they still need cash to either book another flight home or a hotel room while they wait. This can lead to a doom spiral where they need to make money quick and get trapped taking on sketchier work, sometimes ending up in brothels, resulting in them never leaving the city. In an LA Times interview with an expatriate businessman in Dubai, he said, "A lot of these girls are pretending to live this life, but they don't really have the cash. So they are getting paid in bags or things like that. Sometimes they're staying at a 5-star hotel, but don't have anywhere to go the next day." According to the same LA Times article, some of these women end up pursuing hotels in hopes of soliciting men to make some cash, while some end up working directly under pimps that facilitate hotel guests with women. The author of the article continues, "At resorts, men are mostly old and out of shape. Most of the women are late teens to early 20s with cheekbone fillers and wasp waists," going on to describe their experience by saying, "These women circle men in the pool, trying to pick up clients, while a pimp walks around the outside, greeting everyone and asking if they need any girls." According to a Vice interview with a Ukrainian pimp working in Dubai, pimps are, quote, "tied to the major hotels and nightclubs. Whenever they receive high-profile guests that want to throw a party or treat their guests to something special, they call me. We have built our reputation on protecting the identity of our clients." Something a little concerning about this quote is Dubai's history of inviting content creators to the city. We know they roll out the red carpet for them, even offering some golden visas, a 10-year renewable residence, because they paint the city in a positive light to a global audience. Is it possible these male foreign influencers were considered high profile enough for the hotels to treat them to something special? Regardless, citizens of Dubai have a dark history of luring women to the city under false pretenses. Up until 2018, most of them were coming from third world countries under the promise of working as a wealthy family's nanny or in a grocery store, only to arrive, have their passport confiscated, and then forced to work as a prostitute. An Ethiopian woman by the name of Siga arrived in Dubai for a supermarket job, but was then forced into a basement bar, dressed in a short skirt, and pressured into sex work.
If I don't work, if I don't go to bar, sleep with men, they'll me.
If we try to run away, they will bring us back and they'll take us to desert.
They'll put chili pepper inside our private parts.
Another woman named Seema was locked in an apartment after meeting a man who then, quote, started kicking and beating me. It was horrible. For a whole week, he brought one man after another. I didn't have a moment of peace. The scary thing about the normalization of Dubai girls is that the wealthy men making it happen don't need to lie to attract them to Dubai anymore. Now, they're upfront with their intentions, and the influencers and models are happily blinded by the expensive gifts and social media opportunities. It's also important to mention that although Dubai's public perception is changing, these practices have still been happening as recently as 2022. After the war in Ukraine started, women fleeing the war zone were reportedly targeted for trafficking into the UAE by selling them luxury, safe dreams of Dubai. This happened despite experts warning of slavery risks tied to Russian oligarchs' demands in Dubai. However, just because the men in 2025 are being upfront about their intentions doesn't mean the opportunists who were luring women under false pretenses, taking their passports, and forcing them to do things they didn't want to have gone away. If anything, they probably feel more confident with their operation since their offering has become a lot more believable.